Okay, so many people tuning in from all over the world. Well, we're just going to get into it because I'm imagining there's going to be a lot of questions. People have pre-submitted questions for you, Matt, but then we're also going to take live Q&A on the spot. So how this is going to work is Matt doesn't have a presentation. He is just here with his knowledge. He says he's an open book. We can literally ask him anything. And so that's how it's going to roll for this webinar. Different than anything we've done to date, but I remember the last time we did a webinar with you, Matt, it was just so many questions. We couldn't get through all of them. So I'm glad we're making more time today. I'm Sam. I have the pleasure of hosting this webinar series by SafetyWing. When I'm not doing this, I host my own online community and podcast called The Freedom Lifestyle. And today, our guest is Nomadic Matt, who runs the award-winning travel site, nomadicmatt.com, helping people travel the world on a budget. He's also the author of New York Times selling books, How to Travel the World, $50 a Day, as well as a travel memoir that's fairly new, 10 Years a Nomad. When did that come out, Matt?
2019.
2019, okay, newer. And your advice has been featured on tons of publications, New York Times, CNN, Guardian, BBC, countless other places. And I think this bio is outdated. It says, when he's not on the road, he lives in Austin, Texas. But I think I saw you move to New York on Instagram, right?
Yeah, last month. So, I mean, it's not completely out of date. But
Okay,
we'll get an updated version eventually.
First question, why the move? You were so excited about Austin. That was such a big part of your brand, moving there, loving that. Can you share?
I mean, I was in Austin for 8 years, and so I've just seen the city grow and change, and it's changed and I've changed and we haven't changed together. So it was time to break up.
Okay.
I wanted more of a city life where I could just get rid of my car and walk around, and wanted more stuff to do, and just needed more of a big city. I wanted to go back to a big city.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm sure New York is happy to have you, and I'm sure getting that. Lots of people to see and places to go all by foot. So that's cool. As I said, we are doing Q&A today, so please use that Q&A box. I think it's turned on, but after my intro, I'll double check. We have some questions to start. And then if you are new here, we just want to take a note to mention SafetyWing. They are the company behind this amazing webinar series, and Nomad Insurance, which is how we got in touch with Nomadic Matt. So SafetyWing has a vision of building a global social safety net for remote workers, nomads. Assuming if you're on this call and you're trying to create passive income or affiliate income or monetizing your content or travel the world for less, you're going to fit into one of these areas. And so SafetyWing is creating products with all of us in mind and really wants to become your home country on the internet. Most popular product is Nomad Insurance. And like I said, this is how we got connected to Nomadic Matt. He is one of our top ambassadors in terms of our affiliate program. And this product we have is hundreds of thousands of customers worldwide. And essentially, it protects you with affordable health and medical coverage anytime you're traveling outside of your home country. So works just like a subscription, one easy payment every month, whether you travel to 5 countries, 15 countries, one country that month, it's all the same. So that's SafetyWing. On that note, we're going to move into the Q&A. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. It's just going to be us now. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I said a few times, you are one of our top ambassadors. We were joking backstage that Matt's trying to know who's the top ambassador, who's beating him right now. But knowing that you are so successful in our affiliate program, what do you attribute that to? If you could think of maybe a couple, 1 to 3 of your top tips, what would those be?
Well, one of the reasons is just your size. And that's not something you can really replicate in the short term, right? We have 1 million plus visitors a month, 250,000 on email. So we could, so I mean, we just size equals volume, right? What I think is really important is always to look at is like, are you converting your traffic? So things I would always do, one of the things is just make it always visible. So whenever we send out an email, we have a PS. If you're thinking of booking your trip soon, here's links. One of those links is SafetyWing. The bottom of every blog post, we have also that link too. These don't get a lot of clicks, but again, you're looking for volume over time. Having a dedicated post just on SafetyWing insurance is really important. Having a number of posts on travel insurance that you're always kind of promoting. Social media has a very short shelf life. So we just always are reposting everything, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. So we're always just putting it out there. Hey, I got a question today, best travel insurance. I use SafetyWing. It's very important to use that kind of verbiage. I use this, not, a great company is SafetyWing. No, I use SafetyWing. Assuming you do, you don't want to lie. I actually do use SafetyWing. So having that sort of, this is who I use, is important because people read you because they trust you. So they want to know, who do you use? And so saying that verbiage of all affiliate marketing, I use this company, I stayed in this hotel, I took this tour, getting that kind of specifics is really important. And
okay, I'm taking some notes. So it sounds like you're always having like a call to action at the end of your posts directly to SafetyWing, kind of
yes,
repeating that over as really being that trustworthy source. Like, this is something I use. I love this. This isn't a tool I found on the internet that has a great affiliate marketing program that gives me 10% commission. This is something I genuinely use and love. And that seems to go a long way with your audience.
yeah, that's true for all affiliate marketing too. So
Okay. And so when you say dedicated post, just so we're speaking the same language, are you referring to a dedicated post on your blog then, correct? That's your primary place you're generating affiliate income with us?
correct, yeah. So you would have a blog post. Even if you are only big on Instagram, you should have a blog because you can't dig in social media, right? It's tax. How you can't scroll back, you can't put links in. And so having a blog post where you can direct traffic to that's static is much easier to create affiliate income over time. But you definitely want to have a blog post that's like my review of SafetyWing. Or
I mean,
any.
I think that's even one of your tips, right? Like, I think a lot of people in this new Instagram world and going viral and on Instagram might not even think to actually have a blog too, which it sounds like that's one of your main ways that you're generating income, right?
I mean, I would say like all of it's in the blog, in the sense that that's where the links are. So however we drive traffic to the blog, the goal is always get people off social media and onto your own platform. And that's what you should be doing in general, is driving people onto your own platform, because then that's how you monetize them, because you put an email or blog sort of in their face, and then they can search for your information. Their goal is to come to you as a resource. I mean, I get questions all the time on Instagram. Matt, I'm going to Spain. What tips do you have? I'm like, well, did you read the blog? And, oh, you have a blog? Oh, no, send me the link. Because people on social media kind of don't realize people have blogs, right? Because everyone's so hyped up into like, oh, I just follow this TikToker or Instagrammer or YouTuber, right? So reminding them and putting them, now they're on your page, they're going to click your link. It's sort of, a cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like that it really is the primary source. And I think you're completely right in terms of searchability and being able to more easily index your information. And you've been at this for over a decade. So if you think about how much content you must have, the best way to organize that and find that quickly would be on something that's more searchable, which is a lot harder to do on social media. but you're still using social media. Are you on all platforms? You mentioned TikTok. Where are you having the most success?
You know, I don't really like TikTok as just a personal thing. I love Instagram. So Instagram is where I spend most of my time these days. Um, I think it's just a really great platform for like it's the only place where you can really have a community these days. You know, TikTok is viral videos and nobody uses Facebook, and Twitter is a hellscape. YouTube also. Um, I think those are two current best social media platforms where you can have a community of people and engagement and interaction.
Hmm. Yeah, it sounds like you enjoy Instagram as well, just personally, in terms of the user experience and how you like to connect with your fans and community in that way. Are you tracking social media channels as actual traffic sources to your blog? And if so, is Instagram one of the top channels for you?
No, I never look at my traffic. I
Who needs that data? Just
I
intuitively.
it depends on what you're needing it for. I don't. I mean, we use a website called Affiliate to track affiliate data. It's very expensive. It gives you like earnings per click. And then really all I care about is total page views because that affects my ad revenue. But where it's broken down for my usage of what I need, I don't need that kind of granular information. But everyone's use case is different, I mean, if you're doing heavy marketing on Instagram, yeah, you would want to know that. We don't do a lot of, we just share in general. So it's sort of like, is what it is.
Okay. So data, can you say that tool again? Because it sounds like that's an important tool that maybe people could be investing in.
Hold on, I never
Do you have
say
an
it.
affiliate link for it?
Uh, I should actually. Um,
This
that'd
is your
be
chance. Did we learn this last time? You have them all ready in a favorite, ready to go as we speak.
actually I just signed up for it, so there probably is an affiliate program. There we go, partner
Yeah,
program. There we go. 20%. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Well, I'll drop it in the chat.
perfect.
So I use this. It pulls in all your affiliate data into one dashboard. You can really see heat maps, earnings per click, and RPMs, and just you track a lot of data in it. And so it really allows us to get to a page level thing. And it will show you like, okay, your previous version of this page maybe had an RPM of 1, and this new version has an RPM of 0.5. So clearly whatever you did sucks, right? So go back to the other one. So it's kind of good in testing different versions. It's pretty pricey. I think the first level is like 100 something bucks a month. Yeah, 100 bucks a month. So it's definitely, and then it goes up drastically. But if you're doing a lot of tweaking and conversion stuff, this is like a really good tool.
Yeah, and I think that kind of answers a question that we had from someone, which is specifically about SafetyWing conversions, because the ambassador dashboard doesn't give you those types of key metrics, clicks, date, sales, campaigns. It's saying, so can you get all of that from Affiliate?
So it's kind of hard with SafetyWing because basically they API into everybody, and I've asked them specifically about SafetyWing because people have asked them before, and since SafetyWing does their own thing, you can't get as much data. It gives you like an estimate because it does pick up the fact that this is an affiliate link, but it doesn't get as granular as it can with other platforms, just because SafetyWing does not integrate. So
Okay. Well, Madison is wondering, and I kind of know the answer to this, but I'd love for you to elaborate, which is at what point do you have enough traffic or visitors to apply for an affiliate program such as SafetyWing, which one of the key selling factors for our program is that everyone is accepted. And so there isn't a threshold to get in at this time. From what you're seeing, is that normal for it to just everyone's kind of invited? Is there typically an application process? And if so, what are some of those thresholds you find?
It really depends on the advertiser. I'm trying to think who has a threshold at the moment that we're a part of. I don't know anyone right now that has a threshold, so you kind of just want to go in right away. I'm looking at my top people and I don't see any threshold companies. So yeah, I would apply from the get-go. I mean, the trick to affiliate marketing is you need traffic, right? So, most people don't have conversion problems, they have traffic problems. And even if you have terrible conversion, you don't know what you're doing. If you just throw a boatload of traffic at your website, you're going to sell something, right? People are going to click links, they're going to get cookied, whole thing. And so short answer is day one. I mean, worst thing that can happen is they just say, come back later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, I mean, the way I kind of always think about it, even in the podcasting world, which I include affiliate links there, is maybe you don't have a huge number of downloads and traffic yet, but let's say you have one viral episode or one piece of content, you're going to be so happy you had those affiliate links built into that piece of content when that moment happens, versus later then trying to scramble and add them. Is that kind of aligned with what you would say as well?
Yeah, and if you'll miss the viral wave. If you go back after the fact, it's only because you're going viral. So you miss that first chunk of people. So we, include affiliate links and everything. Because you never know when something is going to get reinvigorated, right? Someone shares some old post and suddenly it goes crazy on the internet. I mean, that's also the beauty of a blog over social media, is that there's always a long-term shelf life to whatever it is you've created. Like a blog gets featured in a newsletter. It gets featured in some journalism thing. Reels, TikTok come back once in a while. TikTok's very rarely, but it's never going to go back to you tweeted something years ago and it's just going to have a life of its own.
Versus blogs, that can happen. They have a longer shelf life, they can come back. Okay, cool. So I think in this conversation, I imagine we're going to hop back and forth a little bit between, I see you and I think the community really sees you, yes, and this expert in affiliate marketing, monetizing your content, being this authority there. But you also have this whole side of you that's like a travel influencer and a travel blogger. And I feel like that's a big part of your appeal too, of what people, are attracted to about what you've really built. And so one question I have that I really love is, can you have a travel blog and only travel a few weeks a year? If you're someone who maybe has that 9 to 5, you get that 2 weeks vacation and you go and you blog that whole time, is that enough? What would you say?
I would say the answer to that question is no. But it doesn't mean you can't have a local travel blog. I think you have to change your perception of what a travel blog is and what it is you're trying to do. If your goal is to, let's just, recreate a website like mine, that, or be one of these travel influencers that travels a lot, can't do that because you're not on the road. But travel, if you view travel as really leaving your local area, I'm sure you do. That person does the weekend trips, local stuff. Focus on that, and then add in the bigger trips once in a while. Whereas if you're like, oh, I have to blog or create content around all these big trips, you don't get to two of those a year, you're definitely going to have a lull in content. I know when I am home, there's a lull in content because there's if I'm home for like 4 or 5 months, right, what did I post about? So, I branched that. I bridge those big trips with local content, Austin tips, New York tips, places I go for the weekend. So it's but if you just view it as big trips, yeah, you're gonna run out of content. And so I think you have to sort of redefine what it is you're thinking about in terms of redefine the definition of travel itself and what you're trying to be. Yeah.
And I mean, you've used the word before, like trustworthy source and really being an authority. And it's very clear, like you're genuinely like authentically passionate about travel, whether it's through your book or your life story or how you started. Like travel is something that you're naturally interested in. What about someone who just sees it as an opportunity, who's, one of those people that just sees a product that would be successful in the market and doesn't actually have a passion there? Could they, in theory, repurpose content on the internet and create blogs around other people's work and wordsmith it here and there without ever going there? Like, do you think that could work?
I mean, there's probably lots and lots of fake travel accounts out there, for lack of a better term. Throw a bunch of money in ad dollars and link building. You can probably create a fake travel persona. And that seems like a lot of work. And I don't think the overhead in travel is that great. But you could do that. But I think that why would you want to do that? I don't think there's that much money in travel to where you were just, if you pieced together fake content, it would work. You would never get any influencer stuff because you're not a real person in the sense of that. But you can definitely do it on a blog. I don't know. You can do it on video. Well, I guess you could. There's a lot of AI tools out there. Where you could do like fake voices and stuff. I think it would work on a small scale.
And what do you think about that emergence of AI and these tools that could, in theory, do what we're talking about? Do you feel that's a threat to your business? Do you feel like your authentic, true travel experience and recommendations are going to continue to be enough of a differentiator?
I think at the end of the day, in this space, people follow people. And so,
Love that.
Nobody reads blogs anymore. They use them as sort of solutions to questions, right? Like people are like, oh, it's Monday, let's read Matt's weekly update, right? I don't give a shit. They're reading that on Instagram. So on social media, people follow people. And so you can have an account that could be fake. And I know there's tons of fake AI accounts because people do these experiments all the time. I see people report about it on Twitter, but then they get figured out, right? Because you can only fake. Maybe when AI is way more advanced, but on a blog, it would, you can write generic content all you want. But I think at the end of the day, right now, people on social media follow people.
Cool. I agree. Okay, staying on that travel theme, we have a question around specifically hotel affiliates. So any tips there? Do you use more than one hotel affiliate program? If so, can you name drop the companies that you're partnering with and maybe why?
We use Hostel World for hostels and Booking.com for non-hostels, and Agoda for Southeast Asia. Why? Better commissions, large inventory. So, if you're looking for hostels, you're going to find the largest inventory of hostels on Hostel World. Booking.com is more global than hotels.com. Agoda has a better inventory specifically in Asia, though they're branched out everywhere. You'll find the most in Asia. So, and then because of the volume of traffic we have good rates with them.
Cool. And of course, because you use them, right? Going back to your original point, that's how you'd promote it. Like these are the tools you were probably using when you were traveling around the world for $50 a day. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no, I mean, there used to be Hostel Geeks and Hostel. There was one that got bought out by Hostel World. I forget their name. Now there's really
Like
only
Selena chain now. I don't know if you do anything with Selena.
no, but they're listed everywhere. But I mean, there was another booking site. Hostel Bookers was the other rival to Hostel World, and then Hostel World just bought them out and then combined the two.
Cool. So you said that you get better rates with one of them, but this is a good follow-up question on that because Kristen's asking, what would be your process for approaching one of these companies as an affiliate? So for these two, did you have to apply Hostelworld and Booking.com, or was there no thresholds? Talk a little bit about how you'd approach one of these companies if you had to.
So Hostel World does their thing through a company called Partnerize, or just like Commission Junction, Impact, another advertiser network. Booking.com is in-house and you can apply. There's no threshold. They have to manually approve you, or sometimes it's just a little bit of a wait. But as far as I know, there's no threshold. In terms of asking for better rates, you do that when you can show you throw a lot of volume. So, I mean, I'm probably one of Hostel World's, I'm probably in their top 3 of affiliates, I would guess. I kind of know who's a little bit close to me, and sometimes we go back and forth. But I mean, as an example, we probably do, I'll tell you. This on this calendar year, analytics, hold on, let me pull this up. Year to date. Okay, so year to date, I'll give you a number. I have sold 380,000 euros worth of hostels.
A lot of hostels.
That's a lot of hostel bookings. That is 16,000 bookings. So I do a lot of volume. So let's assume, it's probably going to be 35, 40,000, probably 40,000 bookings by the end of the year. So I have a lot of clout in the sense that my volume gives me a seat at the table. And so the more volume you have, the more you can sort of get better payouts. And the more creative you can get with partnerships, right? Not only asking for higher commissions just straight up, but also talking about, maybe you can do more social sharing, more business partnerships, discounts, just try to create more than just a transactional relationship. But one of the best ways, the only way I really know is volume. Or if you're just like, I get 1 million followers on Instagram, and for a higher percentage, I'll guarantee this many videos and this, so then you're leveraging a giant social platform that you might be missing on the blog side, right? Whereas I have more on just a straight up conversion thing than I do maybe just on social media, because we got like 140K on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, Twitter too, actually. But like people have millions of followers, right? So, but they might not have a blog that converts. So like some of the companies might be happy with that level of exposure versus, just brass tacks numbers.
It sounds like you're figuring out how can you provide more value to this partnership instead of just, okay, I can convert this many people. And so when when would you start feeling comfortable, or when did you feel comfortable renegotiating that? And I would be curious how much that benefited you in terms of what your initial commission split was, if you're allowed to share, and what you were able to increase it to after you showed some results and really asked for that.
I cannot share,
There.
but I think their default rate is like 20%,
Okay.
and I don't have a 2 in front of my number. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, cool. Someone
But
wants to know what, go ahead.
I would say when can you tell? I don't know. I feel like you'll kind of know, right? You'll know when like you're making substantial money from a company, then like you have sway. You know, like if you're like, oh, I make $500 a month. No, but if you make 5,000, 6,000 bucks a month, all right, now you're talking.
Okay, cool. And again, I mean, that's always going to be relative and based on the program that you're in. So you said it's Hostel World you were just giving us these numbers for, right? Someone
Yeah.
wants to know, what are your top 5 affiliate programs? So I'm guessing Hostel World is in that top 5.
Yeah, Hostel World, Booking.com, SafetyWing, Get Your Guide, and a company called Take Walks.
Take Walks.
Yeah, they do walking tours around the world. So
Nice.
that's a good affiliate program.
Okay. And all very focused on your niche, which is travel. Do you ever veer out of that? Or I'm sure you've done some experimentation. Can you get out of travel and be an authority and make affiliate commission, or do you just kind of stay in that lane?
I stay in this lane. I think that I have focused so long on one specific thing of travel, it'd be hard, right? Whereas you have a lot of influencers, they do travel, lifestyle, fashion, kind of like a little Venn diagram, those 3 loops, that's easier. But we're just like practical budget travel information. Moving out of that becomes like a real 360. We could probably do camping, like actual backpacking, not just like the staying in hostels kind, because that's sort of tangentially related to budget offbeat travel. We'd have to slowly or like RV travel, we'd have to slowly integrate that in, rather than make a complete shift. But I just don't have the desire to do that. I'm totally happy with where I am right now.
Cool. It's working for you. Okay, back into blogging. So question specifically around updating your existing posts. How often do you do this? When would you do this? And when would you decide to just create a whole new post versus maybe updating an old post if there's some similar content?
We update, so we have a spreadsheet that lists every post we ever have on a master tab, and then we kind of break it down by themes. That's hostels, where to stay, walking tours, insurance, whatever. That way, sometimes we just better see. At least for me, I can better see every post type in one place and be like, oh, it's been a while since we've done updated all our insurance posts. Let's just go get that. We try to be seasonal. So like right now, we're really focusing on updating Europe content versus Australia. But for our travel guides, we sort of start we update them all seasonally. So we have a calendar of like this month we update this and then that and so forth. So
But what do you mean by like updating? Like, what are you updating? Is it maybe you're finding more relevant or more unique things that are happening in Europe right now, or what specifically are you changing?
So things I would like focus on would be prices. Like, we're very practical in nature, right? So like operating hours, our businesses still open. So we kind of do that, just basic fact checking. And then, maybe since, the last year, someone either I have or someone on my team has been there, so we might, be able just be like, oh, let's add this activity in. Or let's just take this one out. This, tip or activity is just kind of shitty now. And so it's just sort of rearranging in that way. And fact checking. So that updates relevant prices and links and everything. We won't change the publication date unless like we really want to make a big push for it. So like we had one recently about a Paris itinerary. I kind of wanted that at the top of the pile. So traffic that's coming to the homepage can see it. But things to do in Bristol, England, got a refresh, but it didn't get put on the homepage. It's really just exists for Google. I wouldn't change URLs because you have this old URL unless it's like really bad. So like in the beginning, I had this thing where every Saturday I would focus on one city called the Saturday City. And like I did one on Bristol, England, when I went to visit. So it was like the URL was the-Saturday-City-Bristol. Now that's a terrible URL. It doesn't tell you anything. So when we revamp that post to just be like, here's things to do in Bristol, we changed it. We created a new post called, things to do in Bristol. And then we redirected the old URL. Unless you have a case like that, I would definitely keep the URL because you always want to minimize redirects as much as possible. So unless you really screwed up on that URL, leave it the same.
Cool. Okay, I came in and out internet-wise for a second, but I think I caught the end of it. So definitely, it sounds like it's very important for you to just be factually correct on your blog. Like you really want to be a go-to source for this information. And, if you start having the wrong hours or you're talking about businesses that are closed, you're just going to lose that trust. And so that seems like that's an important part of your strategy. And then I kind of came in at the end when you're talking about when it would be worth actually updating URLs because domain rankings and all that I bet are pretty important.
Yeah, I always joke, I should never have gone into travel if I want to be just myself, because once you read that post on how to do a push-up never changes. But, things to do in a city, businesses, operating hours, hostels that exist, hotels that exist, it changes all the time, which is why guidebooks are updated on a yearly basis, or at least should be. So, I have 2 full-time content people plus a third part-time. And if I could, I would have it a third full-time person, just because, we have 2,400 pages, probably at minimum. And that's a lot of content to update.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about email newsletters. Are you doing that? You haven't mentioned email at all. We've talked about social media, you've name dropped platforms, definitely talked about your blog. Do you have a newsletter? Let's talk a little bit about that strategy. And then Dottie specifically wants to know, what is a great way to increase subscribers for their newsletter?
We definitely focus on email. Email is still the best way to communicate with people. I would say as much as I want a large email list, as I've gotten more into social media as for the brand, like engagement, and we've sort of taken the website into more of just here's content. I'm more concerned with converting affiliates or converting traffic into affiliate links sales than I am about joining my email list. That said, we have so many projects, it's always good to have email. So, I wouldn't say I think I ignore it completely. Right, we sort of go through phases, and right now we're in a let's optimize for conversion phase. growing your email list, I think that's a whole nother talk, but couple of hacks is one, always promote your email list on social media. Two, have boxes and sign up forms everywhere on your website. And three, have a pop-up. Pop-ups convert. They're annoying, I know, but people use them. So I like this thing called Opt-in Monster, again, that allows you to create really granular opt-ins on a page. That works really well if you have a lot of different things. So like, since we focus on many different regions of the world, we have we have a Europe list and a Southeast Asia list. So when you go to our content on Southeast Asia, the email forms are really related to Southeast Asia because that puts you in a very specific list. So focusing more on that.
Okay.
And trying to get granular rather than have one sort of catch-all, join my email list. And email incentives are also really good.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, for those maybe opt-in, when I hear opt-in, I think of, if you join my email list, I'll give you this, right? Like, give someone a reason to join your email list versus the pop-up just saying, hey, join Amatic Matt's email list. Maybe that is what it says, but I'm guessing you have a reason that someone should join. They get something. What are the most effective opt-in incentives that you're running?
We mostly just do free downloads.
Okay. Like a guide.
Sign up for my email list and get a packing list, a guide to finding cheap flights, and my best travel tips. But then again, going to be very specific, if you're on the Europe page, it will also say, here you'll get my like best houses in Europe, or you'll get specific Europe tips, or Australia, insert region of the world. And so if you go to my blogging content, the pop-up says, download a free guide to setting up your blog. So we try to make those opt-in incentives also very specific to the content you're looking at, right? So, because if you just had one size fits all, that wouldn't work for what we're doing, since we cover so many different regions of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I'm sure you have to use some cool tools for that, because that requires a lot of logic. You have to know where the person's joining from, what page they're on, then you're segmenting them in a specific list, giving them specific emails. What are your favorite tools for that type of strategy?
So we use a tool called Opt-in Monster.
Okay. If you have an affiliate link, feel free to share it.
Yeah. Now you keep making me look up all these affiliate links. Let's see.
You're going to thank me if you get some referrals.
There we go. Referral program. It's on share a sale. Yeah, where is it good?
So Share a Sale is another one of those platforms where if I joined, I can see a bunch of different brands I can then refer, right?
Yeah.
Is that a good place for someone to start if they're just like, okay, what programs are available and I just want to have an easy way to do it? Is that something you'd recommend?
Here's my link.
Perfect.
So we use Share a Sale only because Opt-in Monster's there, right? So we're on like every program only because we have to be. They're all kind of the same. It's, a lot of people use Tap Affiliate, some people use Commission Junction, lots of people use Impact. So like you just kind of go with whoever is part of that program. I mean, some of them are better than others in terms of the data you can get in the user interface. They all track your sale, and that's kind of it.
And then there's partners like SafetyWing, which does completely their own thing, and you can only join SafetyWing and only see SafetyWing data.
Yeah, same with booking.com. Yeah. Booking.com runs on their own platform also.
Cool. Okay, someone wants to know about exclusivity. So like you've of course talked about Hostel World and Booking.com, which they're not really competitors, I'm guessing. I mean, maybe if you're getting a private room in a hostel and a hotel and Booking.com, you could be the same person. But are you ever being asked for exclusive partnerships with any of these companies where like I'm the only hostel site that you can recommend?
I have done it in the past, but people pay a hefty fee for that. So, in the sense of like, okay, we have an affiliate arrangement, and then you're going to pay me sort of like a cash bonus, just to not link to anybody else. Money has to be pretty good for that, but in the sense that like, okay, if you're thinking about like on our travel insurance page, we link to SafetyWing, but we also link to Insure My Trip and MedJet and lots of other places. Because everyone's kind of different, right? But let's say you use booking.com, just okay, why booking.com over Expedia or whatever? One, inventory, you want the most, you want to give people the most options. So even if they don't like your option, that they stay on the website and they find a hotel they like and they're still in that cookie phase. Insure rates, booking.com pays better. It's a well-known name versus say, a smaller thing like maybe a Agoda. But also, why split your income, right? Let's say I say everybody book at the W Union Square. Book on Booking, book on Expedia, whatever. You're just splitting your income up. You're giving people too many options, and they start clicking around. Then they're going to look at the rate on Expedia, and then they're going to go to Booking, and you lose cook. It's just give people one choice. So there's no real reason not to just do one choice.
Cool. Okay. Right. So you will do it, but it has to be for a good enough reason to have exclusive. But also it kind of just seems like it is a best practice, because if you're saying I use SafetyWing as my travel insurance provider, but then you're talking about SafetyWing and then a competitor, you kind of lose your trust, right? And then you're just confusing people.
Yeah. Also, I mean, there's this whole thing called the paradox of choice. People just want to be told what to do, right? I'm going on this trip. Who do I use? Right? They're just like, they don't want to think about it. And so if you've created lots of links, you're making now people think about it. And then they're going to have to be like, well, let me look into this other one too. And then they go down this rabbit hole, and you've kind of lost them as a potential conversion. So it's just better to be like, I book your hotel, hostel on Hostel World. They have the biggest inventory. Here's the link. Okay, great. That's all I need to know, right? But if you give too many options on the page, they're going to start clicking them all, and it's just you're creating friction. You want to reduce friction as much as possible.
Okay, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to buy. Tell me where to go. Make it simple. Go for the sale. Make it quick. Think
about how you use the web, right? Remember, how you use the internet is how every other person online does it, right? When you're like, all right, I got to buy a lamp or a bed or whatever, right? And you're like, best beds. You don't want the whole story. You want to be like, best beds for side sleeper. This one. Here's why. Okay, great. Nobody wants to spend hours searching for stuff, right? It becomes overwhelming. Is this site better? Is this bed? You start to like really get micromanage, and 2 hours go by and you still haven't picked a bed. You just kind of want to just be told like, this is the best in the category you want. Here's why.
Awesome. Okay. So we've talked a lot about how to actually convert when someone's actually on your blog. So whether it's converting them to an email, converting them to a sale, the tools we use, the best practices, but how do we solve for people who don't have the traffic yet? Let's talk about some ideas for generating more volume, generating more traffic to our blogs, because if we don't have that, none of this matters. And so, thinking back on your own journey, do you have some examples of things that really moved the needle, that once I started doing this changed, and now we always do this?
Right now, like, search is always big, but podcasts are great. Everyone listens to so many podcasts. So like if we can get on a bunch of podcasts, that can really blow up your traffic a lot. Our biggest referrers are obviously search and then social media, but things that can really like move you up is just a lot of media around you. And so if you're trying to do something, like promote a book, do a lot of media. But if you're just talking about every day, like how do I get more known, doing collaborations with other creators, doing guest posts on other websites, that's really just sort of the everyday thing. Right? Like, let's say if you have a book coming out, just do 1 million podcasts, right? Just like tons of podcasts. Do a book, you would do a book tour. You do as much media interviews as you can. On the day-to-day, what we do is we try to do collaborations on Instagram. So joint lives. Then I try to do all the podcasts I can do. And if I have time and I'm in a place, I like to get on people's YouTube videos. You cannot grow traffic in a bubble. It requires a lot of active effort and getting out there and working with other creators, working with media, getting interviews, showing up, and building partnerships.
Mm-hmm. For someone listening to that, though, like I can imagine, I would think, well, I mean, if I was Nomadic Matt, I mean, I could go on any podcast I want for the most part, right? Like your name has clout already. What about for someone who feels like, well, what can I offer a collaboration? Or maybe I don't have a big following yet, or why would someone want to collaborate with me? These are things I hear come up for people all the time. Can you relate to that? Or can you think back on when you could relate to that? Could you still relate to that?
I
Share from that
mean,
perspective.
there was a time when I wasn't Nomadic Matt, so the thing to think about is that everyone wants content that serves their audience. So as long as whatever your pitch is relevant to them, you're gonna, the internet has billions of people on it. I have a couple 100,000 of them, right? And I'm considered gigantic in travel, in blogging. But there could be people like in the Philippines that, that dwarf me. But, the internet is very siloed off, right? You might think, oh, I have nothing because the people I follow are huge. But then if you zoom out even more, well, they're smaller, right? So we get sort of caught up in our own little perception bubble. So I'd never be afraid to like approach somebody based on size. Really, the issue is relevancy. If you went to a big finance blogger and you're like, listen, I know you talk about travel, your audience asks you all about this pain point. I can solve this pain point for you and your audience because I have XYZ experience on the subject matter. They're going to be great. Do that. I don't care if you have 1 million followers because everyone hopes that like, I have you on my thing and then, you promote back to your audience. But at the end of the day, it's really just about usefulness to the readers.
Mm-hmm. I love what you said about everybody needs valuable content for their audience. And so the way I took that and what I was inspired by is you won't know if you don't ask. So why don't you just pitch these people that you're thinking are better than you or wouldn't pay attention to you with some valuable content that you could create with them? So are you doing that? Are you pitching someone and say, I could give my top tips for traveling the world on $50 a day, or I can tell you about secret places to eat in, I don't know, the latest place you went to? Like, are you giving examples of things you could talk about in these collabs?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
You definitely want to sort of bring that up.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
Otherwise, you want to always start off that pitch email with like, here's what I can offer you. Here's my initial ideas. And they might say no, but now you have a conversation. No, I don't like this, but I'm looking for this. Can you do that? Rather than just, because now you're creating a conversation. Otherwise, it's like, hey, want to work together? No. Now you just ended the conversation. You got to give people a launching point to then come back with a counter offer, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. Even, getting people pitched to be on cast and they'll say, I could come talk about this, like a bullet list of things, of questions that you can ask this person. That already takes the work off of the person creating that content. And it's like, great, you're prepped, you're ready to go. This sounds valuable. Let's do it.
Oh, you're breaking up. Or is it me? I don't know who's breaking up.
I think that's great advice. Time now. Believe it. On a full hour ends. Oh, my thing might have frozen again. Okay, I'm going to keep talking unless I hear otherwise. But as we start to wrap up, we have.
Yep, she's gone. Well, I'm here.
I'm back.
Oh, hi.
Hey. Okay, as we start to wrap up, because we're basically at time now, thinking about how we can really provide any last little bit of nuggets for our listeners, knowing that people have tuned in really to get where you are now, right? Some people might be just starting out in their blog and are wondering what it's going to take to really get to that level. Maybe there's some people that have some experience. And on that note, let's actually end the poll and see to confirm. Yes, as expected. We have a pretty big mix here, but half the people who've been listening are totally new to the concept of affiliate marketing. And so really speaking to that audience and someone who's just getting started, what are some like final words of wisdom or piece of advice or things that they should even be thinking about when it comes to pursuing a career like you've done for yourself?
I would say the first thing you really always want to focus on is solving the traffic problem, and getting as much traffic as you can through SEO and just general brand awareness. But include links everywhere, and don't be shy about being pushy.
Love it. Solve your traffic problem. Don't be shy about being pushy. Put your links everywhere. Just go for it. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. As always, we have more questions that we have time to answer for, but I think we just need to bring you back every quarter, however long it's been since the last one. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to be here.
Amazing. All right. I know Carlotta has shared a few times in the chat links to join the SafetyWing Ambassador Program. As we mentioned, there's no threshold. You can join today. You can start making passive income referring our product, Nomad Insurance, which is what Matt does so well. So on that note, thank you so much. We're going to end things here.
All right.
Bye, everybody.